Welcome back to Sunny Side Up with Trish. Today is the weekend and I'm busy restocking these little jars that I keep on my shelf where I store my spices. There are 7 spices that I consider basic to any pantry. When you're just starting out or maybe starting over and money is tight, you want to be careful in your selections. Today I'm going to share the 7 spices I consider essential to any pantry. As a side note, if you donate to a local food pantry, you might want to consider donating spices. When a budget is screaming tight, most people are going to cut these items first. By having a small assortment of spices available, a person might be more inclined to cook from scratch and make healthier options. Spices add a degree of joy to the dishes we create. So, here are my 7 essentials. First in my lineup is, of course, salt. It's technically a mineral, but it's the most crucial seasoning in any kitchen. It enhances flavor, balances sweetness, and even suppresses bitterness in some dishes. It brings out the creaminess in a good many stews and soups. A good sea salt or kosher salt is a great starting point, but even a basic canister of Morton's will work. It's generally available for less than $1 at Walmart. And this is another food pantry item that is a really good idea to consider donating, as most everyone will appreciate it and we all know what to do with it. Next up is black pepper. This is a classic for adding depth and mild heat to both savory and even some sweet dishes. I prefer a coarsely ground pepper, and the reason for this is it has a stronger and more complex flavor than finely ground versions, but something is always better than nothing, of course. As far as pre-ground peppers, you can find those for less than $1 at Walmart. You don't have to get a name brand. If you really want to splurge, you can buy a pepper grinder and do it yourself. Either way, I definitely recommend having pepper on hand. This should be your number 2 purchase behind the salt. Moving up to the shelf, I want to give honorable mention to onion powder. For me, this is the basis of any savory dish. When I start with tomatoes, I am most definitely going to end with onion powder. Yes, of course, you can get the same effect from sauteed onions, but this makes cooking from scratch really easy on a weeknight with a whole lot less effort. Onion powder enhances almost everything, and for me, this is the number 3 essential. Of course, we can't overlook the importance of garlic powder. This is a versatile alternative to fresh garlic, which is always delicious. It's perfect for dry rubs, marinade, and when you want to add a more subtle garlic flavor without the texture of fresh cloves. Some people have a real texture issue, and I understand that. So, garlic powder is the perfect alternative. It has a long shelf life. It's relatively inexpensive. Again, you can buy the Walmart brand for under $1. I go through so much of it, I get it at Costco, and I refill it weekly into this cute little glass jar on the shelf. While it isn't typically my habit to mention products by a brand name, this one is worth noting, and I got this from my mother. This was a staple of most of her recipes. My number 5 essential in my kitchen spice lineup is Lowry's seasoned salt. This is a little extra kick that makes vegetables really stand out, and whether you're putting them on the barbecue or sauteing them in a pan or baking them in the oven, it gives it a lot of extra zip without a lot of extra effort. It's just one bottle. It is worth noting that this generally does not go in one of my cute little containers. Uh, it needs to stay in the dark container because when it's exposed to sunlight, it seems to lose color and flavor. Um, I feel like anything that inspires me to want to cook more vegetables is worth mentioning. So if you're going to make a little splurge, I would definitely get myself some Lowry seasoned salt. Next up is paprika. And my preference is for a smoked Hungarian paprika that I buy at a local spice shop. I always keep a good smoked paprika on hand because it adds color, it has a mild sweetness and smokiness. It's perfect in stews and on vegetables, and it's a key ingredient in many global cuisines from Spanish to Hungarian. I have a strong affinity for cooking foreign foods because I'm a vegetarian, and I feel like that gives me a greater variety in my diet. And I find that paprika is well suited to seasoning my vegetables and rice in a variety of recipes. It's used all over the world. If you aren't excited about paprika, you probably haven't had a good one. And this is a spice that I would encourage you to seek out one that might be a little spendier and buy something really good. It's worth the extra money, and you'll definitely be able to tell a difference, particularly if you eat chicken. I think that it's a really good spice for seasoning chicken and fish. The last spice in our lineup is cinnamon. While I'm mentioning it last, it certainly isn't last in my preferences, and it cannot be overlooked. Every kitchen needs cinnamon. It isn't just used in sweet dishes, but also in savory dishes. It adds warmth and depth to baked goods. You can put it on oatmeal, you can add it to savory dishes. I have put it into Moroccan cuisine, Greek dishes, and Indian food. On a rainy day, I'll even add it to my coffee for a little extra pick me up. Cinnamon always smells good, and it's another very inexpensive spice that you can easily get at Walmart and probably pay less than $1. So that is my list. Let me know in the comments what your top 7 essential spices are. I'd be interested to hear if we have the same preferences.